What does this D represent and the R represent?
Explain to people why you don't make the crosstabs available.
This goes way back into Des Moines Register history preceding me, that at one point they were requested, I think in the 1984 caucuses, the first time caucuses were ever polled. And so they said, sure, and they shipped it off to a pollster who then wrote an op-ed in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or perhaps the Washington Post saying, this is why the Des Moines Register is so completely wrong. And they decided that if anybody's going to write the next story about the poll, they reserve the right to reveal the data.
Right.
So,
right. Okay. So Noah, are you able to put up that tweet? Maybe it's up and I can't see it because
it's up.
It's up. All right. Ann, are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay. Could you just go through and say what you think about those criticisms?
Well, I'm trying. This is in a format that's a little difficult for me to see. What does this D represent and the R represent?
What does this D represent? What does this R represent? I've only been in the polling business for 40 years, so these technical terms are sometimes very hard to understand.
What does this D represent and the R represent?
D. So they're saying that, and again, he says read through the Selzer crosstabs.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they know that this poll shows, and again, it's they say your sample it's more 3% more Democrats than Republican, whereas the electorate last time was 8% more Republican. It says that you have Indies voting Democrat +4, whereas last time they voted or +7 +4. So they're saying if you compare what you have with what happened in 20, according to the exit polls, it's way too big a change across all these groups in a uniform way towards pro-Harris as opposed to Trump.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time I'm seeing this, and so it's sort of against my nature to think I understand everything that this is saying, and I haven't cross-checked these numbers to know how that actually pans out. But I'm going to say that it is clear that senior women are an advantage to Kamala Harris in our poll. Kamala Harris wins by more than 2-1, actually, maybe even more than that among senior women. It's a big, big spread. So I don't know. The truth of it all is I don't go back to the previous exit polls to see how my data align with that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I expect there to be dynamism in how the electorate forms itself from poll to poll, from cycle to cycle.
Right. So what people are skeptical about is they say the sample you came up with in all these areas just is too large a shift that's not reflected in other state polling towards Harris. And so again, you would say that your record suggests that when you do poll with your methodology, you get a good reflection of the electorate. And if these changes occurred, it means these changes occurred from one cycle to another, right?
Yes, I have been looking at seniors all the way through this cycle because they have historically been more likely to vote for the Republican candidate. So I've had my eye on them this whole time. Well, so that's a big number, it's saying, for senior women voting for a Democrat, if that's what that means.
So let's get into the Iowa poll, all right, which is what everyone's talking about today. So to finish my thought, because of the early voting turnout, President Trump, as I speak to you right now, is millions and millions of votes ahead of Kamala Harris throughout this country because of the early voting. So Kamala Harris, to have a hope, has to catch up with her voters depressed, and she has to catch up and surpass Donald Trump, who right now is many millions of votes ahead. So the Des Moines Register comes out with this poll. Kamala Harris leapfrogs Donald Trump to take lead near Election Day. And it says that she's got some type of, 10-point lead, something stupid like that. So I pull up the PDF file of the entire poll, which is linked in the article. Anyone to find it. It's not like I did some investigation or made some calls and had a contact. And a lot of people like me would pretend to do all that. Everything's available on the internet. And they ask us now. Again, this is a poll of only a little more than 800 people. But listen to this. Here's one of the questions buried at the bottom. Do you consider yourself a never-Trumper or not? These are the people they polled in Iowa. Do you consider yourself a never-Trumper or not? 67% said yes. 26% said no. What? What? Says right here. Do you consider yourself a never-Trumper or not? Yes, 67. No, 26. So that's a 41-point jump there. It's a poll of never-Trumpers in Iowa. Shocker. And even among with the majority of never-Trumpers, small sample, just over 800, she's only 10 points ahead. Boom, that's it. The poll's not valid.
What does this D represent and the R represent?